Hello, a very good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you might be, because I know those in China are in the morning. So it's not bad to say good morning. It's good to be back. This is going to be a quick one, and we are happy to host Honorable Yaya Menten Sane again. A couple of weeks ago, he was here with us, and then we have a very interactive session. And a lot of people have been calling you to come back again, especially when this new development comes up from your end and other political parties whose registrations are pending right now, so that we can have a discussion with you and other people whose registration has not been fully successfully done by IEC. So it's good to have you, Honorable. And mba dokla Michael Elo Fananina and Jibe Dani Lomel Nani Yokondo, Mino Banko Kani Banko Bandal. Doki Bismillah.
All right, baraka baka.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, honorable. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Malmo. Thank you, Jobis. Nice again. As you said, this one is going to be a very interactive, but within a very short period of time. So let's have it very interactive, and I know a lot of things are happening as far as our United Party is concerned, but we will dissect it as sharp as the surgeon's knife dissecting every disease organ. Thank you very much.
What are you, Doc?
All right, thank you very much. Ka kumara bakela ngesoro jang kotenke, nyenon na kacha, fulan jang oting kacha soron jang komanto. It was very interactive and very interesting and quite very engaging. Mol karanta je kuja mala and then na kumala la fanam binga kacha soro kula minu bedending alla, baby pori la yalo ninde na kuto be bule ko mutala ko, anyanta nyameng. So ibukala vi hanis yulu
I
fanga waka. So abe kumala le, nga kacha kula minu bedending wala. Albe farmansari mbake mobe ba fola drong guy be ni tara internet oto you run the course you would just hear unite again
Just make it famous.
akenda ma jaw may ka bele moy so butong ngaji ki lafta ka cha dam tara dam bi wala nyinti ko abe tunkura min wala nyinti ko alla registration process adia mo be siare United ma
Thank
register
you.
no mun kata cool dun ta nyoko mun kata United be lon kangol min na mun kulle be kering so be nyin karo follow la dame wala nyinti ko United has submitted its credentials for registration.
That,
What
that is
is the
correct.
problem?
Dr. Malmo, for that very important question, because there are a lot of misinformations out there, different school of thoughts. Some are deliberate, some are unchecked, some are just out there to confuse themselves, because nobody can confuse Unite. Nobody can confuse us because we know what we did and we want. What happened actually is a mistake, and it's very nobody can be proud to say what happened. People are saying Unite is rejected, Unite is torn down, different nomenclature, different choice of words, etc., etc. But IEC, when you submit your party applications to the IEC don't have any constitutional power to reject any party. What they do is to guide you in your registration process, is to tell you do A, B, and C as per the requirements of IEC to register as a bona fide and legitimate political organization in this country. Malmo, I was one of those people, many meetings sort of with IEC. In fact, I'm only because for me, UDP law reaction on social media. For me, there are no issues. I don't react to no issues. It's just this platform that I'm going to speak about this. Whatever they write are no issues to me. And as I said, I don't react to no issues. I always react to issues. So when we went there for a meeting, first was our call. The IEC, that one, Yendanile, because our caller is arranged in such a way that Nikobe printing killer is going to cost them a lot of money. So they appeal to us. They say, "Is your right?" Hey, they told us categorically clear, "Is your right to have the colors arranged in this particular way?" but we are appealing to you people for you to have it in a particular way, because it's going to cost a lot of money when if you are printing your this thing, your ballot drums during the presidential election. So Unite, we are very careful. We are very mindful of cost, because we don't want to bring a political process that is going to cost IEC a lot of money to print. So okay, we tell them no problem. As far it is about color arrangement, we agree. So they say instead of we going vertical, we go horizontal. So we accepted them. We said that's not a problem, because you are not forcing us to arrange our color in a particular pattern, but you are just appealing to us. And we are all citizens of this country. At the end of the day, everybody want to see that government and IEC spend minimal amount of money in this election process. So we agree. That's number one. Number two, Malmo. They said in our constitution, there are 2 or 3 paragraphs there where it says UMC. Do you understand? And they said the party we want to register is Unite. So unavoidably, 2 or 3 paragraphs UMC appear. So they say we have to change everything to Unite. Okay, that's okay, that's also fine. So number 3, I'm telling only this to this media, please, because for me, let them talk whatever they want to say. The third issue was IEC has special designated names for all the regions of this country. Do you understand? KMC is not called by IEC KMC, it's called KM. Brikama West Coast is not called by IEC as Brikama Area Council, it is West Coast. LRL is not called as LRL by IEC, it is called Mansa Congo. You understand what I'm talking about? So see, some of the forms also we feel bear some of these names that are not recognized or that are not designated names by the IEC. So people who are saying, where are the 30,000 registered members? We still have the 30,000 registered members. So what happened now is like some of the forms bear UMC, some of the forms bear Unite. This is what IEC. So I say I was one of the officers that attended that meeting with IEC. They say some of the we have received all your forms, and we look at all your forms rather, but some of the forms are UMC, some of the forms are Unite. So now, hence they wanted 10,000. I was the one who asked them this question. I was the one who asked them that question. This question. Now, if we are going to have 10,000, out of these 30,000 forms or so, how many are Unite and how many are UMC? We want to know that. So IEC, as per their procedure, they cannot tell us that. They say, no, we are going to get back to you people. But what we can tell you right now, the 30,000 form also you have submitted, some are Unite and some are UMC, and you want to register Unite. Do you understand? So when they do their final checkup, they realize that the 30,000 forms are all legitimate forms in the country. They are all government registered voters. But the amount of forms that should be equivalent to 10,000 is short. I think 7,000 or so. Do you understand what I'm talking about? There is no falsification. There is no dead member registered.
It is short of 3,000 or short of 7,000?
Short of 3,000.
So that's short of 3,000. Let me get this clear. That short of 3,000 is based on the nomenclature, because some of the forms have Unite and some of them have UMC. So those with Unite were 7,000 and the others were all UMC.
Okay. And do you know what point is that? Because when we registered the movement was called UMC. So most of the forms were filled UMC. Everybody was excited. We have our volunteers, our coordinators everywhere. UMC. So until a week or so, we want to register the party Unite. So now they started revising to Unite. But we cannot be very proud of it, because we could have evaluated, we could have checked this thoroughly. Do you understand? We could have checked this thoroughly and to make sure that all the forms bear Unite. But I can tell you the 30,000 forms also are still there. They are legitimate. They are Gambian voters. They are not dead persons. They are alive. In fact, some of them even broke their fast 1 hour ago. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So if I see people, some of the comments, man, if I read, I just laugh. I said, these people, they don't know what is happening. So what make Unite is very special, and IEC and Gambians will pay special scrutiny and attention to Unite. For that, that's God given, because we have lately occupied the entire opposition space in this country.
I have this question for you, Yaya. In
the
Gambia, if you come to a political space now, the dominant force that is constantly talked about, it's Unite, either positively or negatively. So Unite as a political entity should have known very well that any document they will be submitting should be thoroughly vetted, because all eyes are on Unite.
I agree.
So this is an avoidable mistake. You agree? That is an avoidable mistake. But again, the simple thing to do is basically to go back and get those documents, move them from UMC to Unite, and submit your application, right?
Exactly. This is what we are doing exactly, and this one we are not doing. That's
what would be your reaction to the? What would be your reaction to the statement that they've actually put in names of people who are dead?
When I saw that from that foolish man, Momodu Saban, I was a little bit pissed off, but at the end of the day, I just laughed, knowing the type of person he is. And this is exactly what happened. There is no dead person registered. There is no forged signatures. Everything is real. The only thing is about the nomenclature. UMC, Unite Movement for Change, and Unite as a party. These are quite different things. IEC cannot take form from UMC and register that on behalf of Unite. Even though it's these people who join UMC and Unite, it's the same intention. They just want to support the movement. They just want to support the party. But at the level of IEC, at the level of IEC scrutiny, and at the level of IEC due diligence, they cannot take these two things to be the same.
Menteng, I have this. You are a man of multiple professions. Menteng is a teacher. Menteng is an engineer. Menteng is a lawyer. Menteng is a politician. Can the IEC reject any political party from registering? Like to say, no, we have rejected you, you cannot register.
They can never reject any political organization to register, because this is a fundamental right of every citizen of this country. I said before, and in the preamble of this conversation, Malmo, what IEC can do is only to guide you in your registration process. That's their only mandate. Do A, B, and C. You are sort of A, B, and C, but they cannot write to any political organization. Like, for instance, if there is any political organization in this country that is called A, B, C, D as a political party, IEC cannot say address A, B, C, D rejected as heading of their letter and sent to your party headquarters. They can never do that. They can only write you a letter and send you and give you some checks here and there where you should do what you're supposed not to do, just to guide you in your registration process. But to answer your questions, Malmo, IEC, Independent Electoral Commission of the Republic of the Gambia, as per our laws, can never reject any political organization to exist as bona fide or legitimate political organization of this country. They can only guide you, and that's their mandate. That's what Constitution tells them to do.
Yes. Job,
just just one question. Honorable, most likely, Allah rapatual o Allah rumriye sol mi anna ko wala tara pour registration ni wala registration people mi anna ko wala registration ni ke Allah fo mo nyala structure nyali fo nyim fo mo nyim IC le fo mo di Allah ba, because I believe natar no atala fo mo blend party name should be written and it should be fixed. Falmo ko gano kabira nada for falma review.
We took it the forms from the IEC. Okay, at the beginning, I told you when this movement was pronounced to Gambians, become a public notice to Gambia, everybody was excited. And we have thousands of coordinators, volunteers filling these forms, volunteering and filling these forms. So what we also failed to do is to give them a proper orientation. This is how you're supposed to do it A, B, and C, do it like this. So as I say, we can never be proud of this as Unite. Looking at the kind of people we have among all the seasoned politicians, all the seasoned technocrats, our data center people sitting there with their masters in statistics, masters in masters. So it's like we can never be proud of this, to be honest with you. But there is nothing fraudulent that happened. There is no forgery of signatures. There is no dead person registered. The only thing I will say on and on in this conversation is the nomenclature between UMC and Unite. And as per the constitution we sent to IEC, we were desirous to form Unite as a party, not UMC. And what people fail to understand about UMC and Unite, UMC is a Unite Movement for Change. So now we want to transition to a party, because UMC is a movement, Unite Movement for Change. So this Unite Movement for Change now, we want to form it, or we want to transition to what we call a political party, and the name of the political party is Unite. So some people, they just confuse themselves.
Just 1 second. Don't you think this is going to hurt you people as you are getting into the political season? The election is just at the corner, and now people are getting confused about United, UMC, United, UMC. Fema when it are for like ballot box or they might UMC ballot box or it ballot.
They will see talent. They will see talent on the ballot box, so don't worry about that.
but here is the point. People vote. They look at the photos. They don't just look at the names, bro.
In Gambia, Marmo, doctor, you are right. Gambia, they don't look at the name. They look at the photo.
Right.
How many of our people know this is APRC, this is UDP? No. It's only the picture they look at and they vote for the person. But you type. Governments are so used to this now.
Because I mean, up to date,
no, it's not going to affect us because our color is going to be the same. And Unite, I have follow what I've been saying that we are going to launch a campaign never seen in the history of this country. We will launch a campaign that is never used in the history of this country.
I have a lot of questions. We don't want to dwell much on this. It's very clear that the IEC cannot reject any political party's application. All they do is to guide you through the process.
That application. 1 second. They don't have the power to reject a political party. But in 2021, we have seen almost 15 political parties' nomination has been declined.
No, nomination to run for president.
With these technicalities, I mean face anything. And I knew that if you happen to face the same thing in your nomination, it's going to lead to, disqualification.
These are different things. I didn't listen to Malmo. Malmo is trying to explain that point.
I understand what you meant. I'm just trying to reframe my question so that you can understand it. And then mistake will like a registration process, right? You guys had made mistake during your registration process. And the same mistake hadn't been it is for nomination, the same thing is gonna happen. And so what will you guys will do to prevent that when you are going for nomination?
In fact, this is really a very good heads up for us, gearing up to the whole presidential election arrangement by way of that nominations, etc., etc. What you are saying, Job, is I understand. If this is a nomination process, then Unite will not contest 2026 presidential election. Exactly. I can tell you that. So you can remain as a party, but for the fact that your candidate nomination is sought by even a vote, then your candidate is not qualified to contest that particular election. Do you understand? Because there cannot be two nominations for any political party at a given time. Your nomination is going to be only one day, and it's going to be specific hours where you are going to nominate your candidate. Do you understand? Where you are going to nominate your candidate. So if you fail to go by the nomination criteria, fulfill the nomination criteria, then your candidate is not going to contest that particular election. So I think this is a heads up for us gearing up to the presidential election. But I can tell you this mistake will never repeat again.
Exactly. So
I want to agree. I want to agree fully that it's a learning point, not just for Unite, but any other political establishment in the Gambia. And of course, for me, it's excusable in a sense that you were transitioning from a movement into a political party. And that is why even among people within that establishment, some of the people still use, Unite movement, and people still use like Unite as a party. So, because it came with a big euphoria, and then the name was all over, and then people are used to a particular name, and of course they could do that. But what the Unite could have done was to have somebody who actually vet all these documents before submission to the IEC. That is the point where I think something really went wrong. But now that you learn from
Yes,
this,
exactly.
as a lawmaker, I always have this feeling that it's not even right, in my view. I always have this view that it's not right to really reject people's nomination because they needed 10,000 people and they got 10,000 people, but probably one or two among those 10,000 people had already filled a nomination of somebody prior who was actually nominated. This is a simple thing to tell them that, okay, you are missing two, go and correct your two. That has nothing to do with it. But automatically rejecting people by the IC. Let me give you this scenario. If Unite is to be nominated before NPP, ni Unite la more 10 or more 10 me along ko wale Unite nominated will to be NPP la nomination list but for Adam Barola fenko reject la.
In fact, I think there is a ruling
so
on that.
It's either the IEC is using a tactic to reduce the number of participants, and now when you are a threat to the regime, you will become a bigger target
they should be really
when
fair
it comes
for
to
that.
this kind of issues.
Exactly.
When you become a target for the regime and the IEC is hell bent on perpetuating what the regime wants, they can easily use that to actually disqualify your candidacy. And that is not a law that is fair to everybody, in my view, because when you are nominated, you are short of Senegal needs to take off. We give you this number of days to go and fix it. If you cannot fix it, you are not part of it. But you can bring 20,000 and then somebody or 10,000 people most of one party nomination or field just to make sure that you don't qualify at the IEC. Deliberately, they could do that. Because you go to people whom you believe that they are in support of your party. So if there are 5 short, the IEC could tell you to go and correct it before the elections. And if you are unable to short it out within 24 hours or the stipulated time, then you would automatically be rejected. But come, bring your 10,000. Here is the 10,000. Or 2 people among your 10,000 already nominated the previous candidate, and of course you are completely rejected. How is that your fault? If that happens to the incumbent, will they reject the incumbent? But now that they will see other parties as, hey, let's use those kind of tactics to curtail them to make sure that the incumbent has a chance to be there. Because most of the parties, they actually, probably they would actually reduce votes of the incumbent. So that is a way for the IEC to, in a way, kind of try to act like they are regularizing. They are not regularizing. They are more or less helping, aiding and abetting with the incumbent. Because along fananko, ni IEC membeje, control ko, mas ni masakunda control ko, olmo ko disunya lalet. Because we were told that there is heavy corruption at the IEC. And now, if all of these things are happening, probably you are a politician, you will not say it as an ordinary Gambian like I would say it. But Gambians need to pay attention to the IEC so that they do the right thing and not to tell people. And to give information, because of this and this. Either you talk to the party and let the party know what they need to do. Coming to the public to talk about the parties who are unable to register is the IEC partaking in trying to vilify other parties and even newspapers writing things that are incorrect? What is the IEC's business in the United's inability to get certain things? Is the IEC's responsibility is to communicate directly to Unite, not to come to the public to tell them how parties cannot be registered. I don't think that
For us, Malmo, we are even shocked when we saw that. But what happened is, IEC wrote us our letter since January, and which we are working on. So we are very equally disappointed. Why will they go to the media and make this pronouncement? That is because in the interim, there were a lot of things that happened. United successful congresses, Nemakungu successful rally, the momentum we are gaining opposition space. So I don't even know why will they even single out only Unite when about 7 or all other political parties could not meet the registration criteria. But this is good news. I told Malmo, I keep telling people, I took a lot of pride in this. Trust me, I look a lot of pride in this. If you are not the only person, but like everybody is talking about you. Everybody is talking about you. Both the government, both the opposition, everybody is talking about you. You are only existing for like 5 or 6 months. I think this is telling people in Unite that we have to take a lot of pride in this. This is an extraordinary opportunity and experience that has presented itself to us, and we have to grab it with both hands. Do you understand? IEC is not, because they already written to us quietly, which we are trying to do the the remedies. They wrote out since January, and this thing happened in February. So imagine. So what must have prompted IEC to do this?
But honorable, the remedy that you talk about here is quite different from the registration. It's quite different from the number of the voters. The regularities in publicly has to do with Allah party calling and the constitutional clause amendment on but for Allah registration on
I said that maybe you didn't pay attention when they told us all about this. So now they said we are coming to our 30,000 forms or so. Some of the forms contain, or some of the forms are Unite, some of the forms are UMC. So I asked them this question. We are now, we want to register Unite. Can we know how many forms among these 30,000 forms is Unite? You don't understand what I'm talking about? Because if you know that by now, by then we could have adjusted it quickly. But what IEC told us that meeting was that no, they don't do it like that. Even you are sort of one form, you are going to start the entire registration process. But if they told us out of these 30,000 forms, how many forms were Unite, how many forms are UMC, then we are going to adjust quickly. So it is after, when they communicated, that we realized that Unite is sort of like 3,000 forms. You know, UMC I think was 22,000 or 23,000 forms, something like that. That was appropriate. But the word Unite as a party, I think we are short by 3,000 forms or so. What they did not tell us at that gathering, even though I asked for clarification, but they refused because they said that's not their procedure.
That's why
I think generally the registration is that's a non-issue. The whole point is that, of course, there are inconsistencies in nomenclature. You just got to go fix that and a couple of other things, and then you go register. My whole point now would be Unite. I would look at this as, of course, a baby party that is coming up, and of course it needs to understand the political dynamics of the Gambia in a sense that this is the same electoral commission that could, in a way, like Joe put it, if this was a nomination period, they would automatically use this as a leverage to say, you know what, you're not partaking in this elections. And this is a party that I believe, as a baby, a lot of people really hoping that, of course, it's one that could form a formidable force. Therefore, such kind of avoidable mistakes should definitely not be things that you could actually accept. Because the fact is that you see, when people are looking for every means to really, cut it there, don't give them that opportunity, because that's an avoidable mistake. But my question is, don't you think it should be, I'm not sure if it is in the legal frameworks, but why does IEC automatically reject people because one person in your nomination list is appeared on another list?
And how
is
would
that
you
the right thing to do?
That's my question. How would you know that?
Is that a law?
A bad law, and I should say, it's a very, very bad law. It's not a progressive law. It's not a democratic law, or it's not a law that is very progressive under a proper democratic dispensation. And I think some of these laws need to be revisited, because people can target each other. People can mobilize, as you said, organize for people to come and register for a particular organization.
No. Let's say for me, maybe I don't like this. I didn't like this particular political party. I could do that. Exactly. Because when they go to the IEC with my name, when I already went and did for two other parties, and what would happen? They will automatically reject them, which is not their fault, when they could easily get tens or thousands of people to come and fill that position. Why is IEC not giving them, another chance, even 2 hours near the labor, but you automatically reject them simply because you want to curtail the number, or you want to do something to actually, support the incumbent. So how about IEC is not even going by, alphabetical order, and the yatol ke last to do. Or a partido ke last yana na yadra ko party tambe la nomination or more full about every partido, what it many better kaito bala will la kaito bala. And do you understand that I'm not sure how many thousand you need in each of these regions, but you understand that the democratic realities of the Gambia is that the population of Banjul is significantly declining towards the Combos. And therefore, to get a certain number of people from Banjul for each of these parties will become a problem.
Yes.
And then as we go by, and then because this is a small island, you look at climate and disaster issues that you are very much au fait with, you realize that there is a lot of drift from Banjul towards the Combo. So if that happens, the population is declining, and then you expect every political party to get either 1,000 or whatever the number is, I don't know, from Banjul. So Soko model be
I
Jason
don't
and
think,
Rafo Mbela Patido, so my Rapatido Rafo of Panambijel. And we know that other parties would go and even give people money to have their nominations filled. So Nia Tosa Fajan Kodiku Amada Soma, Arara Tosa Fajan and I reject Mundali Laka. Woman can work and daddy.
no, Marmo, ironically, the amount of registered political parties in this country is more than the Banjul voters. If they all want 1,000.
So look at that now. So
Yeah,
now
yeah, you know.
statistical realities are telling you that it's not even possible for all the registered political parties. But
Yeah,
how is the IEC trying to
yeah,
redesign that? And we know that Banjul's population continues to decline. Yet we still want to keep it the way it is and expecting that all these political parties will be able to get that, which we know that in reality is not attainable. So therefore the IEC need to revisit. And
yeah.
then IEC patil many they are in the process of registering. New Walmart register, no, it's not IEC's responsibility to come to the public and talk about that. I think fundamentally the
Agree
people
with
within
you.
people don't like to talk about the IEC because they are politicians, but some of us can do so. These are people who should be distinguished personalities with credible, track record. But you know, multimedia like control wolka mola many alon kay man foroyano in banko mola kodote me foroyano la politico mola cartete manyadi.
Well,
To a point that you come out to
I
publicly
don't
talk
want
about
that.
political parties and their registration processes.
I have that UDP approach or mentality towards IEC. If you ask me, I have to be very honest. I am
Why
right now trying to give
why
them.
are you after UDP? Leave UDP alone.
No, for those people, IEC is always against them, and I don't want to take that approach and mentality. That's not good for any political or politician in this country. One thing I know, they have all the capacity or capabilities to be able, all the resources to be able to conduct free and fair elections in this country. And I will closely monitor that, continue to monitor that until we all cast our votes in December 2026 president's election. But I don't want to speculate
I
about them
saw
right
I
now
saw
to
I
say,
saw I saw Nene saying you need only 200 from each of these regions to become to be nominated into the election. Is that the case? 200 in
no,
Banjul?
no, at least 1,000 in each
Yeah.
regions. At least
Anyway,
1,000.
I'm not for Ofe, but I don't think 200.
So
That's
honorable,
small of a
Doc,
number.
Doc, I want us to move a
Mm.
bit to a lot of commotion, especially before we start the program, like a couple of minutes. Nigel sitting here, Allah statement on your rebuke. What would you say to that if you have seen it?
No, they can NPP. When this statement was made, what happened? It affects NPP. It is swaying or deflating people's confidence, trust and confidence on Talib. If Barrow can point him to be his vice president. In fact, Kemo did not even mention even local government minister. The former May saw rest in perfect peace. I was also privy to a lot of things. The former vice president Badara. Do you understand? This is true. Trust me. This is I can also second that. Kemo's most on that. This is true. It happened. So you know what happened? Barrow actually, some of the Barrow ministers, they came to Talib that even Talib is even capable to even be Barrow's this thing. I don't know, Barrow's replacement, Barrow's successor. All these opportunities were put on Talib, were put on table for Talib. Trust me. So when I see from in those days UDP people say Talib will be there, I say you people don't know what happened. The opportunity Talib that presented themselves towards Talib or to Talib, if it is any one of us, will go. Don't trust me. The vice president was there, minister, a lot of ministerial positions. In fact, at one point, even some ambassadors of this country even engaged Talib to go and join Barrow. Trust
You
me.
know
So
what? I don't think that's a big problem. That's really anything that NPP should be ashamed of. Because one thing about NPP's politics is a core before NPP. They know I don't like their party. I have nothing to do with it. I would never support it. But the whole point is that NPP is a party that goes after what it wants. It's not a
I
party that
know, I know.
you know what happened in 2021 that actually led to a massive victory for the NPP. What I realized, or what I would say, that's my diagnosis of it. NPP would any person who is rejected by the IEC, Barrow calls you automatically. and tells you, come and join me, let's work for this country. While other parties were laughing at them, Barrow was calling them underground. Sorry, we sympathize with you, but now Moro, mimbala fate wala kalamda, mi kalamda wala kalamda, political bolodo. Yenda bali, iraka jelendela, azara, nindo mimba nyine ka fanyo ko mori sorry de, mbala fati la naka fundaka, iba ka fala jumalaka. Minka jelela wala minka sorry, naka funka.
The one that shows you the sympathy.
So, but there is also, there is this constant statement from all corners that there is a possibility that you people would align with the NPP. Is that anything that would actually come to your mind?
Malmo, I think I said this in the last interview, right? No, I think I said
let me give you this scenario. Mbaranganya scenario sifadila. Na kunduda mantafu. At this present, charged environment of within our political space. Ekoeko moro sai wade nkaradu election or bare ko United the atu da fenke no la je faro le kafumoka UDP fele NPP fele and the albert
No, but what people fail to understand, if it doesn't mean that you can only contest presidential election as a party. As an independent, but I want as independent candidate.
No, I understand. Well, that is not the point here. I understand that even if Unite fail to register, Unite can still run for president. But I'm just giving you this particular scenario to say, is it even possible that you go join NPP? Candidly, what is it?
UDP and NPP, in between UDP and NPP, I will remain neutral for the rest of my life. I will never join. I will not join either of them.
You will not go to the opposition. You will not go to the opposition to remove the regime.
No, me. One thing I always tell people very categorically clear: Unite can do political collaboration, strategic partnership, or whatever with UDP. I have been saying that. That's possible. Because oppositions, at one point, we will see how do we come together. I've been saying that we have no problem. We can enter into a strategic partnership with UDP either by way of joint forces together, alliance or coalition. We are open to that. The only thing I keep saying is UDP's condition is what we are not going to accept, but we are going to accept them for us to go into convention, primaries, and choose a flag bearer. If it happens to be anybody, then we will follow that person as the most acceptable candidate for all.
You are an engineer. Listen to me. You are an engineer. You are a professional. You understand the importance of statistics. You understand numbers and all of that. Here is a party newly formed and of course gaining momentum, but here is another party of 30 years, has its structures, has its base, and of course got over 200,000 in elections. How do you intend to go into a primaries with a party like that? In what aspect, in what level? Like, you want to go there as equals, or you want to go there as, of course, partners in development, of course, in a way that there will be respect for all partners, but not necessarily to say we are coming into a convention as equals, and of course if ours is picked, then of course you have to accept. If yours is picked, you have to accept. What exactly is this convention of partnership that you intend to put in?
No, Malmo, to exist for a year, 2 years, 3 months, and to exist for 30 years is not very significant there. If you're talking about structures, we can also bluff that we have established all of our regional structures. Today, I just conducted my ward and constituency congresses, and others are doing it. And these are all structures that a formation we are going to, these are the formation we go through as far as our political process is concerned. So we can equally be very proud and say we have our structures. You see, let me tell you one thing about presidential candidate in this country. It's about the candidate. People look at the party, but the candidate is also very, 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 very important. We will go to negotiation with all political organizations in this country as equals. We all go there. If, fortunately, any candidate that emerge out of this process, this convention or primaries, we are of the coalition. Look at Adam Obaro's model. This is what happened in 2026? UDP, we were a little bit humble to say, okay, let's go for convention. Even though some of our extremists were against that, but some of us were acting behind the scene, encouraging them to do so. I remember the late Bolong's delegates, our sisters from our village. So when they come here, Bolong was not able to even have 50 votes. Even Halifa was not able to have the 70 votes. My father and others. So this, if you are a big party, go trust the process. Go there and show to them that you are the mightiest. But why do you fear to go to convention and primaries when you know actually you are the biggest party? Don't fear that. Go there. You see, you show your might.
Yeah, but how about if all the small parties join each other and of course vote for one person and then that person wins and then UDP will feel that, oh no, we got all the numbers, but of course it's very tricky to go into a an equal convention when you think you have the bigger numbers.
Mm-hmm.
What well,
for me, it's not even about bigger or biggest number. What is it about? Is like equal opportunity, equal privilege, equal reciprocal respect. We respect each other in the process, and we don't downplay each other's card. When I call Dr. Malmo, come and negotiate, you must come with your card. I cannot
I don't like the fact that I'm like, that's not. I actually did say that Omanke is not a good negotiation language. It's not a language of trying to build a coalition. I understand that, but here is another question for you, Menteng. Like of course UMC is gaining momentum. Unite and you see myself. I'm still saying UMC, and then of course, I also saw people say Unite UMC, but of course, yes, that's an issue. But here is my question: what would if UMC is to contest 2026 election solo? How do you intend to defeat Barrow as the incumbent, who already said all the national structures should support him? Don't you see that there is a need for the opposition coalition to come together to actually write a statement against some of the utterances of the regime and the consistent, tours of the president, which are not really about, development projects, but they are just politics as it is?
Well, UMC going solo and UMC joining a coalition. For me, Malmo, I've been saying this on and on. For me, the most popular politician in this country right now is Talib Ahmed Bensouda. And for us, we have track record of defeating Barrow. Remember 2026 mayoral election. The entire government machinery, the entire government infrastructure.
Is that 2022 or 2023? When was it? It wasn't
2023. It's 2023.
Right.
Because National Assembly was 2020, mayoral was 2023. Now, all the ministers, even some of the ministers that are from the provincial Gambia, the President Barrow himself conducted some house-to-house around Dipakunda. Ambassadors were recalled. Permanent secretaries were all made resourceful. Government, everybody, the entire government infrastructure and machinery descended in KMC to remove Talib. But what happened? We defeated them never imagined before. Because if you looked at the total amount of votes Usainu Dabo got was like 42,000 or so. But Talib was able to hold on to that, consolidate onto that, and add extra 15 or 16,000 on top of that. With all Barrow and this entire government, this entire cabinet, what they did in KMC at the time. So for us, we have track record that we have track record of beating Barrow directly.
But Honorable, somebody also
so we don't care.
Argue. Sorry, one second.
But we will pray. We will pray for coalition.
I didn't pray for UDP won all the seats in KMC. One can say that too.
UDP, no, not all the seats actually.
Sorry, most of the
not
seats.
All the seats. But,
most of the seats. I mean.
Now, okay. If you take me to statistics,
but also,
National Assembly.
that has always been
against Barrow.
that has always been Menteng's argument. Talib was able to keep UDP's votes, consolidate on them, and of course have additional votes to them that UDP alone did not have. So that does not mean that he's trying to downplay UDP's contribution. It was UDP plus additional votes that this person could bring to that particular party, and that is his basis to be picked to be the flag bearer. You know, he always have his own solid ground. I don't know where this guy learned politics, but you know,
I wrote about that. The UDP people are saying I'm disrespecting Hussein. You see, sometimes how they think is so funny. Hussein got 42,000 votes. Talib got 48,000. How is that an insult to Hussein? How am I insulting Hussein? So it's like you don't even know what they want. That is what he got. And that is what Talib got. And if you look at the National Assembly election, our total votes casted for, yeah?
Doc argued that last week when you give this, opinion, he said we need statistical representation to be able to justify those numbers. Because Nyara Jibe, Talib, there were 3 in the ballot. Like it was Talib, Bagar Baji, and then the other guy. But Nyara Hussein Waljibe, there were 6 in ballot.
No, I think they were 4. There were 4, I think. Mayoral election. I can't remember. 3. No, it's more than 3. It's more than 3. Go back to the record. I think it's more than 3. If my memory could serve me well, it's more than 3. And no, also, if you look at the voter turnout too. Statistically, we are going to be.
We have to look at it from the voter turnout. 98% of the people voted. Then you know how many percent of this did this person get. You know, then you know in terms of the figures as in this. You know, but I think I'm not sure how much the turnout was. What was the turnout for the presidential election, and what was the turnout for the
presidential election? It was over 80%, and mayoral election 50-something%. So imagine, in fact, the 80% voted in mayoral election. Yeah. The kind of margin we'll be talking about will be so huge. But over 80% turnout for presidential, mayoral only 50-something%.
What would you say to this? That Mayor Bensouda was backed by heavy political parties like GDC.
That is because Mayor as a figure attracts coalition. He attracts coalition. That's the advantage. He has a personality that attracts coalition. So therefore, this is why it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for future coalition. It's an opportunity. If we did not leave UDP, it's an opportunity for UDP to attract coalition with other political organizations. So for the fact that GDC, the NUP, the blah 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 all supported Talib is because Talib attracts coalition.
That is one thing respectable about the UMC. You know, Moro I've seen a lot of political parties, and some of them we actually personally help in doing some of their documents.
Let me tell you a story.
Okay, go ahead.
Today, when I was conducting my constituency congress, you know what people fail to understand? UMC is already a coalition. Okay, I provoked this conversation. I think we have we get 15 delegates from each because I have 3 wards, but other people attended who are not delegates. So I provoked this conversation. Can you all get up and say which political party you belong to? Imagine there is no single political party in this country that was not present today at my congress. GDC, APRC, NPP, UDP. It's like, that's why I keep telling people, UMC is already a coalition. It's only to finalize it at the leadership level of political parties. But we are already a coalition.
Which political parties are you in talks with?
Right, we are in talks with all the political parties in this country, and if they are 15 in number, I can tell you right now about 11 almost agree with us, and what we're going to do is to go about a framework. We grow together, we trust each other, we all carry the institutional knowledge and memory together until presidential elections are closer. Then we choose a flag bearer. What I can tell you, if the political parties are 15 roughly, about 10 or 11 are already with us. Not with us, but are already together. Let's differentiate that. They are not with us, but we are together.
We have 10 minutes maintained to go. And then
So, Menteng, I have this question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
What exactly is the negotiation terms for Unite?
Negotiation terms of Unite is very, very simple. We don't want to swallow any political organization. We want to give equal footings, respect, consideration to all political organizations in this country. We are not telling any political organization our leader is going to lead by force. Or we are not telling any political organization without our leader is a deal breaker. We want to bring all political organizations together. We develop a framework together. We grow together, develop together, trust each other, so that any flag bearer we choose, everybody is going to trust that flag bearer. And another thing we keep telling people, we are not only ambitious, or we don't only want to remove the government. We are also thinking of how to govern. But here, most of the time, coalitions fail because political parties come together. Their only sole objective is to remove the government. But the governance part of it, nobody think about it. That's why during the time of governance, there are always issues or crises. In Unite, we want to come together to remove the government, but also we are very mindful on how to govern. So all of these things is going to be in the framework. All of these things is going to be in the agreement. Let's remove the government, but also this is how we're going to govern.
I have my final question for you. I know coalition building processes are not about, this big number, small number. At this point, it's all about trust, because people have seen what had happened in coalition 2016. So where there are issues of trust, how do you build trust at Unite level, among all other parties?
Well, one thing, open, transparent process. Politics, there is nothing secrecy about politics. There is nothing confidential about politics when you come together. So we are going to attract trust and confidence from other political organizations, because we are going to have that open policy or open door policy, and we are going to be very, very transparent with whatever we do. And the framework that we're going to write, that we're going to adopt, is going to be written by everybody. Every process of writing that framework, all the political parties will be present, and all the political parties are going to have their input. We are not going to write a framework and just and go and present it to the political parties to adopt. We are going to start this framework from the preamble together. Even the preamble, the vision, the mission is going to be together. We are going to conceive it together and deliver it together. So by way of that, we trust each other. So that if it is Dr. Malmo that is choosing as the flag bearer, then we are going to trust that person, because we are going to trust the person in such a way that we also going to have a framework on how to govern. We are only going to rush to remove Barrow. We also put a framework, something that how we are going to govern in case we remove Barrow, so that you are not going to have that.
That is one problem. At the time 2016 was conceived, and of course Barrow coming to power, you understand that the constitution of the Gambia gave a lot of power to the president. Unless any mole da korta minna imu mole minka jiko mafa, and then ila kuma kan wala ka bara wala. But you can build trust with people, and then until you sembo di la foito nada mansa kundado, and then they can turn 360, because the same constitution is what we have. We don't have a constitution that would make sure that there is that fair and balanced, equitable, power distribution, that nobody comes and then try to entrench themselves. So at this point, trust is the major issue. And of course, I understand how you want to maintain trust. Will you make sure that whatever you are agreeing on is constitutional, and not really to put 3 years and somebody turns around and say, oh, but that is unconstitutional?
Whatever, if we want to develop a coalition process, either a heavy or a lighter framework, we want to make it constitutional. It is going to favor the incumbent. No doubt about that. Okay, but now when we are going to do constitutional, it's going to favor the incumbent, the flag bearer of the coalition. But now the flag bearer of the coalition will have, there are moral obligations and there are legal obligations. If you come together with people and write something together, agree on something, that is a moral obligation. Legally, yes, you can go for 5 years, but if you say 3 years, that is your moral obligation. And for me, what I believe in, I want to subject myself to moral obligation, to sometimes more to legal obligation, because moral obligation defines the kind of person you are. For how do you tell a bank? For man ala tentu bang, for agree tell a bank. Ila moral obligation be worship la.
Understand? So molka nyina fo eko esa futu ke fo sanji tansa bana lafta manyo nyin la ka fo ko ha baral qur'an ko ten ninten. That is the only time they refer to. But again, and also when it comes to this constitutionality, people will tell you, but this is moral, and then how can you compare more? But morality should be the basis of human development in any society, and where a leader likes morality, nobody should actually vote or even respect a person of that character.
If you lack moral, you are nobody.
And then where you lack morality, you cannot have respect for constitutionality, because basically, Horomo is morality. So neither more you cannot actually respect any constitution. So you are only going to use it to your advantage, and not because you respect it, simply because you are morally bankrupt. So now morality becomes the basis of constitution coalition building, and that is something. Morality is a big issue.
Because this issue of morality,
a highly moral person will be a respecter of our laws. A highly moral person will be a respecter of agreements.
I think and that is not the NPP government. NPP government is the leadership that runs the most immoral government ever in this country. And then let me finish this, Job. And of course, to hear Sidin Jai say one thing or another, this is the same person that gives 100,000 to all those party affiliated to them to run their congresses. These are people who do not have any moral respect to actually say that those are the politicians that we should not continue to have in this country. And I think it's high time that this regime gets off, and of course a new leadership is ushered in, and that can only be through collective partnership among these opposition parties, to understand that you cannot rejoice over Unite is trying to or struggling to register, and the next minute you want them to come and join forces. The opposition should actually help each other to be better, and to make sure that this immoral government is actually ousted. And that should be my final take on this. And of course, I wish you very good luck in the registration process, and I hope that Unite will be a formidable force coming in.
We're going to do our final compilation, our final verification, our final vetting scrutiny by different layers in the party. And when we submit now, it is pumped. We're going to have our registration certificate. So I don't know, people who are saying they will never register. What will they tell people now? They may tell people they buy ice.
Yes, Joe.
I want you to, I want to ask question, and then I want to ask you the last question, and then you can make your final remarks, while answering the question. What person by Jao argued that opposition layer UDP back, there is a high chance that they can win the election. And then Kemo himself too said UDP needed small parties because they have a little bit of chance. What would be your take when Naldun coalition talk?
I'm not familiar with these two choice of words from Kemo and from the other commentator. Yes. I have to be very sure of my choice of words at the time. How do they say it? But one thing I know, and I always tell people, 2026 presidential election, UDP is very irrelevant in the process if they don't change their position. We will need each other. And the only party that can try to go solo and win Barrow in 2026 presidential election is going to be Unite under Talib. But we will definitely see for coalition from other like-minded political organizations. We share different principles, different values, etc., etc. So for me, UDP don't stand at any chance, the slightest chance of defeating Barrow if they don't join coalition. It's not about joining one another. It's like coming together. I always want us to be very specific with our choice of words. It's not joining one. It's like coming. Do you understand? To be able to defeat Barrow very
easily. Of course, lacks on morality, is not fit for purpose, and it needs to change. Then the people who really want to lead should have that, tendency of coming together, and of course being able to give and take and negotiate for the collective good of the country. And this you actually made mention that of course Unite is open to that. And I hope all other parties are open to that, because That's for the collective good of the country. Nintendo mo ko
Dog,
lente
the-
ngo
dog,
manyana gala
dog, dog.
political.
United is open, they are open for coalition, but this need to be clear too.
For me,
Now, kind of coalition,
unite. We are going to call, in fact, some of the political organizations, why they trust us, some of them even quoted that. When we have conversations with them, sometimes 1 hour, 2 hours, I think 2 or 3 of them commented. They already trust us because these 2 or 3 hours, we never talk about flag bearer. We never talk about who we lead. We are only talking about the framework. How do we trust each other? How do we come together? I'm telling you, about 2 or 3 political party heads praise us for that. About the 2 hours and 3 hours, we have conversation with them. We never talk about them flag bearer.
Trust is the word.
We never talk about leadership. I'm telling you, we never talk about leadership. You understand? So this is what we do.
Near coalition kuwajibe, trust is the word, because coming together puruka kafunyoma fonga lanyola nimmal lanyola wala ninkusora. What we call reflective thinking is niya kenda nung kunung. Moro iko tulubon kilinda buka kumote baraka nyayela. But nimbe na what we need to do is to make sure that we have that trust, and then it doesn't matter who leads it. UDP can lead it, any other party can lead it, but it must be built on principle and trust, and that trust must be mutual. That is exactly the point. But you cannot also downplay the numbers that other people got. But at the end of the day, this whole issue is not about just numbers. I think for me, the ball of contention is on the trust, and if that could be built, I think, of course, the opposition have a chance.
Let me tell you, Malmo, Doctor. Let me tell you the mindsets of Gambians right now. Gambians, they don't care any party now. What Gambians want is a coalition. So if anybody think that you have numbers, you fail to join coalition, you'll be very, very disappointed. The mindset of majority of Gambians right now, if you go to their houses, even during this voter registration we are doing right now, you go to some of the opposition. So this is their mindset. So the opposition party may go, you don't want to be disgraced. 2026 presidential election, throw your pride, throw everything there, and come and join coalition. We do this together and deliver it together. But near you have numbers, you sit down, because your grassroots right now, all what they want is regime change. And they're not going to look at party call. This is what is going to happen in 2026 presidential election. That's why I said it at almost all the media houses. If my former party don't change their positions, the 2026 presidential election will be 3 horse race, UDP, coalition, and Barrow, and they'll be very irrelevant in the process.
All right, I think we basically would have to close this conversation. Maintain the teacher, maintain the lawyer, maintain the politician, maintain the educationist. What message?
So
what message do you have for the young people? Let me ask this final thing. What message? Young people form over 65% of the Gambian population, if that is still right. Now, you have been a teacher for several years. You've worked in major projects in the Gambia. You're a lawyer. You're a politician. What do you have to tell the young people of this country going into 2026? We are already in the election year.
Thank you very much. The message I have for young people is very short and very clear. Traditionally, what used to happen to young people in this country, politicians and political organizations used to say, let's mobilize youth to register and vote for us. But now my message to the youth is, let's organize ourselves, register ourselves and vote for ourselves. That's my message.
Voting for ourselves means voting for Unite, or voting for any other party that has a youth candidate.
Voting for Unite. Of course, we have the youngest candidate, so voting for Unite, absolutely. That's what I mean.
How about Sebo? I think Sebo is the youngest candidate.
Who?
Sebo Sao. I think he's the youngest.
Anyway.
Well, I don't like comparing my leaders to any or all other opposition parties, but we will talk about capable of winning a long candidate with track record of winning.
Afoy ko mbe opposition al nga lanyo kandro nga
Sekou is a very progressive young mind. He has a very bright mind. We had a conversation with him. I was very impressed the day of that conversation. We already together try to develop something. So we'll be there. Gambians we are going to do a joint press conference one day. We saw Gambia, a coalition is formed.
Finally, do you think you people will be able to deliver a coalition to the Gambian people before December elections?
We will deliver a coalition very, 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 very soon. There are working groups, there are working committees working on that coalition process, because right now it's like Unite. Our biggest advantage is we've already generated trust from all most political organizations in this country. And that trust is what should be the building block or foundation block for any coalition process. It's like we've achieved that. I said it before here. 2 or 3 political party leaders press us. They tell us 2-3 hours now, you people never talk about leadership. You will never talk about flag bearer. Or what we talk about trust issue, memory, institutional, coalition building, etc. So by way of that, they trust us, so we are not just there because we want to swallow them.
Thank you very much. It's good to have this
Thank
conversation
you very
with you,
much.
and of course, thank you for clarifying a lot
Now
of
the
things in
next
relation to
conversation
your
will be when we
registration.
register, please.
No problem. We will have you back here when you register. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, Mente.